Hello everyone and welcome to week 6 of Resilient Motherhood's core strengthening series. This is the last week, so you guys made it those 6 weeks. You've been consistent with the exercises. Again, if you need to go back to any of the other videos or kind of progress through them a little bit more slowly, you have the liberty to do that. Kind of go off of how your body is feeling. So if today's exercises are still way too much and you need to modify, that's great. If you want to advance, that's great as well. Again, I'll be giving those modifications in advance exercises for you guys to try if you feel like you need to. So with that being said, let's get into child's pose, kind of get our breath work in a little bit here, and then we'll dive into the exercises. So go ahead and get into child's pose. So stretch your hands wide. Again, I like the knees a little bit wider. If it's too much on your hips, you can bring the knees a little bit closer. Go ahead and spread the knees wide and then kind of sink down in to child's pose here. You're going to take an inhale. Breathe in, feel your ribs and belly expand towards your legs. Pelvic floor relaxing, and then breathe out. Everything kind of shrinks back in. So take another inhale and exhale, feeling your pelvic floor expand and relax on the inhale, and then just gently lifting up on the exhale without you doing anything for it. So no contractions, just feeling what your pelvic floor is naturally, how it's naturally supposed to be moving. Take another inhale and exhale. Good, one more inhale and exhale. Good, and we'll make our way to all fours, and we're just gonna continue to warm up with some cat-cow. So you're gonna inhale, drop the belly down. Exhale, round up. I'll show you from a side view. Inhale, drop down. Exhale, round up. Really press through your hands as you round up to get stretch in that upper back area. And if your wrists are causing you some issues, you can go on your fist. Inhale, go down. Exhale, round up. Last one, inhale, go down. Exhale, round up. Good. All right, so now you're gonna make your way onto your back. So we're gonna start again, the first part of the class here, laying on our back, doing all of those exercises, then gradually moving through each position. So the first exercise is that bridge with the march, okay? And last week I showed you an advancement of this. You can do a single leg bridge if you feel like the bridge with the march isn't giving you enough. You can progress to that single leg bridge. So again, I'll show you both options from a few different views here. So first, from a front view, you're just laying on your back. Taking that inhale, feel that pelvic floor relax. And then that exhale, feel that pelvic floor lift. If you don't and need a little bit extra pelvic floor or core engagement, perform a Kegel and draw the hip bones in, lift your butt up, and then you're gonna march one leg up, lower it down, march the other leg up, lower it down, and then lower your butt down. So again, that looks like this. Exhale, draw in hip bones, lift the butt up, march, march, lower down. Again, you want to make sure that deeper core is active. So when you're up here, you want to make sure that your pelvis remains level. So again, if you feel like when you're lifting your leg, your pelvis is dropping or your hips are dropping down, then maybe only just lift it up a little bit. So only march it up a little bit. Again, you'll just march once on each side and then lower back down, reset and do another rep. So I'll show you that one more time. Inhale, exhale. And you're continuing to breathe as you lift each leg and then lower down. Okay? And then just from a side view here of that same exercise. So lift, march, march, lower. So you want to maintain that deeper core, that pelvic floor engagement, even on when you're continuing to breathe, when you're marching your legs up here. It's important to breathe as you're maintaining that deeper pelvic floor contraction, deeper core contraction. If at all you need to kind of pause at the top, inhale right here, exhale, and march. You can do that. So you can exhale and march at the top as well if you need to just coordinate your breath a little bit better. An advanced version of this is that single leg bridge. So I'll show you from this front view. You're just going to bring one leg up. You can either have it bent or you can have it straight, whatever feels good on your leg. So if your hamstrings are pretty tight, a more bent knee option might be a better choice. So you're going to inhale, exhale. And I'll show you kind of from the side view here. So you're just pressing through one leg at this point. So you really want to make sure when you lift your butt up that your hip isn't dropping, okay? You want to make sure both sides of your pelvis are lifting up evenly, okay? You will feel this in the hamstrings and the glutes, okay? So these muscles are working with this one. You shouldn't feel this in the back. So I don't want you lifting up so much that your back is arching just to get your butt up there, okay? Only lift up to what your glute and your hamstring can help you lift up. And then you'll lower down. Okay, so again, I'll just show you one more time here. Leg lifted, inhale, exhale. Again, you're engaging that deeper core pelvic floor engagement on the exhale. Okay. So that's the first exercise. Play around with those different variations of that exercise, of the different advanced levels of it, or the modifications of it. See what best fits your level right now. You can also do a couple of the single leg bridges on each side and then go back to the bridge with the marches if you're feeling you're not quite there to do multiple reps of the single leg bridge. All right, so pause the video there. Practice 5 to 10 reps on each side, and then we'll move on to the next exercise. So the second one is that lower trunk rotation, okay? So we've been doing this for a couple weeks. It's really just honing in on that deeper core movement, that shifting back and forth. So you're gonna lift both legs here. I'll show you from a front view first. You're gonna inhale, exhale, and then I'm going to pause, inhale, exhale. You should be really feeling this through that obliques too. So I'm going to show you from the other side. Inhale, exhale. I'm going to pause, inhale, exhale. Okay. Show you from a side view here. So again, legs are at that 90-90 position, okay? So you don't want them to be in towards your chest or too far away from you, okay? So you're gonna inhale. And if you can prolong that exhale for the full entire movement, so dropping the legs out and bringing them back in, you can go ahead and do so. If you need to pause like I did on that first couple reps, inhale, exhale, bring them back in, you can do that as well. So I'll show you with a prolonged exhale this time around. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Okay. So again, you'll keep dropping these both one side, the other side. Modification of that, because that is not an easy exercise, is to have one leg down. You can drop one leg out to the side and bring it back in, Or you can challenge yourself and drop this knee out and then bring it back in. Okay, so inhale, exhale. That's one type of exercise for a modification. The second modification can also be a little bit more of a level up, and it's dropping this leg out to the side. So inhale, exhale. But make sure with these you are using your core versus just your hips to move your legs in and out, okay? So pause the video there, practice 5 to 10 reps on each side. Again, you can start with the more progressive version, and then if you need a modified for the last few reps, you can do so as well. All right, so the next exercise is that leg extension with the legs hovering. Okay, so both legs are going to be up at this 90-90 position. I guess first I'll show you from this front view here. So both legs up. You're going to inhale, exhale, extend one leg straight down towards the ground. No arching in the back, no arching in this upper rib area either, keeping that back nice and straight, and then you'll bring it back in, okay? So inhale, exhale. You can prolong that exhale for the full movement. You can go ahead and do so. Inhale, exhale. Okay. If you need a progressed version of this, you can start adding in the arms. And I showed you a little bit of this last week. Both arms are going to be up straight above your shoulders. Knees are going to be right above your hips, so that 90-90 position. And then you're just going to stretch out or extend opposite arm, opposite leg. So inhale, exhale. So I'm inhaling, coming back in, but I'm still maintaining that core, that deeper pelvic floor, deeper core contraction with it. So I'll show you from the other side. Inhale, exhale. Okay. So again, opposite arm, opposite leg extends. If you need to, if just the single leg is still too easy and you do want to add the arms, you can also just drop one leg down. Both arms would stay up still. You would just be doing one side at a time, practicing extending and then bringing back in. That could be a modified version of this as well. So inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. This is a nice version to do if you are struggling keeping your back straight, or your ribs from kind of arching out or flaring out. That second version that I did is a really nice option for you to really focus on maintaining that straight, flat back. And by flat, I don't mean tucking of the pelvis. I just mean straight across the mat, across the floor. All right, so try those different versions of it. Again, you can still stay with just doing the legs, so just extending one leg and then the other leg. You should be having no back pain with this, and you should not be seeing any kind of coning or kind of pooching or doming of the abdominals when you're doing this exercise as well. So if you are, then do those modified versions, okay? So 5 to 10 reps on each side of whatever level that you're feeling at this point in the core series. And then that wraps up our laying down part of this exercise. So that's supine part of this exercise. Next, we're going to be getting on all fours, okay? Again, if you need a water break, take a little bit of a water break. Take a little bit of a rest at any point that you need to during the video today. You could pause the video and just take a little bit of a breather if you're really feeling this in the core, if you're starting to feel fatigue in the pelvic floor. So on all fours here, again, we're going to be doing that lifting opposite arm, opposite leg. So I'll kind of show you this one from at an angle. So you're going to inhale, exhale, opposite arm, opposite leg, extend. Now, if this is too easy by just setting it down, you can stay on that same side and then continue with the reps on that same side. So you're going to kind of hover the arm and the leg when you bring it back down as an advanced version. So inhale, exhale. Okay, so I'm not touching down. I'm just hovering both my knee and my hand with that. If you want an even more advanced option, you can also do a little crunch when you come in. So what that would look like is this. So inhale, exhale. Again, for those advanced options, you want to make sure that you're able to maintain that pelvic floor lift, that pelvic floor deep contraction, even when you're inhaling, okay? So those inhales, they're not like that big diaphragmatic breath inhale. They're a little bit more shallow, a little bit more superficial of a breath because I'm maintaining those deeper connections, okay? But you need to make sure that you're able to maintain, again, that deep core contraction, that pelvic floor lift, when you are continuing to breathe. Because if you're not, then I do want you to break it down where you're pausing on the inhale and then recontracting everything on the exhale. Okay, so that's the first exercise. Again, practice it how you need to. You can do just lifting opposite arm, opposite leg, and then lowering it back down, putting both the hand and knee on the ground. You can do it hovering, or you can add the little crunch in with it. Okay, again, 5 to 10 reps on each side, depending on how it feels. The next exercise is the plank on the bench. Okay, so for this one, you're going to want to grab either a stool. I have this desk right here, so I'm just going to show you. This is kind of a nice height, especially if you're just starting to get back into plank work. We want to make sure that we're not progressing too far into the planks if your body is not ready for it. And I feel like this is a great height for that to get your form down. Okay, so you're going to be standing up, and I'm going to be kind of showing you here. Let me just adjust this. Perfect. Okay, so with this, both hands are on here. Now you want them about shoulder width apart. Let me just tilt it down just a little bit. There we go, cool. Okay, so feet about shoulder width apart. And then you're gonna go back. You wanna be on your toes. You can't really see my toes too well with this, but I'll also show one kind of against this dresser here. But you're gonna inhale, exhale, and I'm just maintaining that deep core pelvic floor contraction. Again, I'm kind of pushing through my toes so my feet are not flat. Again, I'll show you a different angle so you can see what I mean by this. You're thinking about lengthening that tailbone, so you don't want your back arching. You want to think about kind of bringing your tailbone underneath of you so you can see my back is arched when my butt is out. But I don't want that. I want you to think about tucking underneath, and then you can see how my back gets flat with that. You're just breathing here. There you can see my toes a little bit better. Again, you want to make sure whatever surface you're on that your wrist can be underneath the shoulders. You're pushing through. Again, at a lower height, the lower you go, the more that your wrists need to be underneath your shoulders, okay? So you don't want your wrists way out here, like I was kind of doing before. You want to make sure that they're right above the shoulders. And they're about shoulder width apart. Okay. Next thing that you can do, I'll kind of show you from a little bit different of an angle. I'm going to grab this bench that I have right here. It's kind of off camera. Okay. So with this bench, I'm going to kind of show you what it'd be from a lower level. So again, you want to make sure that you're pressing through your toes so your feet are not flat on the ground. You want to make sure you're up on those toes. Hands are about shoulder width apart, and then you kind of go up like that. Again, wrists are right underneath the elbows, right underneath the shoulders, and you're going to hold. Going from this height is actually a little bit able to be at a little bit better of an angle with the arms here. Again, I'm going to kind of show you from the side here if I can, but my pelvis is not arched. It's tucked underneath of me, and I'm pushing through my hands to kind of get space between my shoulder blades. And if you're shaking, that's a good thing. That means you're in a good position as long as that back is flat. Now, if you're shaking and your back is arched, that's not a good position. And you're just going to hold that. I want you to guys practice that for about starting out holding for 10 seconds. If that's too easy and you can hold longer, go up to 20, go up to 30 seconds, and then eventually 40 seconds. You can also progress this, so the lower you go with the height of the bench or thing or object that you're using, the more challenging it's going to be on your core, and then eventually you'll be able to do a tall plank on the floor. Okay, but start out kind of at that angle with something that you're putting your hands on, okay, to kind of give you more of an incline. Okay, so you can try about 3 to 5 times, again, depending on how it feels. Start out with 3 times, between 10 and 30 seconds, all right, and take breaks in between, about 30-second rest in between. Kind of roll out your wrists if they're starting to bother you from all fours position, okay? Next one is those knee walkouts, and this is the last one on all fours, okay? So it's very similar to that plank position we just did, except now we're on all fours with it, okay? So we're starting with the wrists underneath the shoulders, okay? Knees are underneath the hips, so that all fours position. You're gonna inhale, exhale, and then you're gonna walk your knees back, kind of sink your butt down, okay? You can bring your toes up. You can also put them down on the ground if you want to. But it's that same position, except now our knees are down on the ground, okay? And we're walking back out to this position. This one's a nice one to kind of really think about what position your body needs to be in. It helps you get in that position. So again, no arching, butt should not be out. You want to think about tucking your tailbone underneath of you, and that will automatically engage that core area, but make sure you're still engaging that deeper core pelvic floor lift. So make sure you can feel that, okay? That's going to protect your core with this planks, especially if you have that diastasis recti, okay? It's going to protect your core from some of these more advanced exercises. You want to make sure that you're able to feel that pelvic floor lift when you're holding that plank position, okay? So again, I'll show you that one more time. You're starting on all fours, and then you're just walking your legs back, your knees back, and you're sinking your butt down. Again, when I say sinking your butt down, it doesn't mean sinking your belly down. Just moving from here to here. So it's only my pelvis giving that little bit of a tuck to help straighten the back. And you're really pressing through your hands, okay? So again, trying that 3 times, between 10 to 30 second holds of that once you get into that position. So go ahead and try that. Pause the video there. Please take your time with these. So you can even kind of look in the mirror next to you if you do have a mirror. That's actually great for planks because then you can really see your form. If you just kind of glance over for a second to make sure you're in the right position, and then look back down again so you're not constantly looking at the side, okay? Next is that half kneeling position. So I'm going to kind of adjust this here. All right, so half kneeling position, 1 knee in front, 1 knee down. We're still working on that half kneeling to standing. So inhale, exhale, feel that pelvic floor lift, draw in the hip bones, press up, stand up, and then if you can, go ahead and slowly lower back down. Again, the slower you go, the more work it's going to be for your quad, for your glutes, for your hamstrings. and also for your core to stabilize that balance, okay? As a modified version, inhale, exhale, feel that pelvic floor lift, draw the hip bones in. You can kind of go up with both feet and then eventually come up to standing. You can hover the leg or just set it down, okay? So modified version, you would be using both legs to stand up instead of just this single leg, okay? Again, that more advanced option is to really slow down the movement. So inhale, exhale, and then slowly lower back down, okay? That's a more advanced option. So that half kneeling standing, practice that 5 to 10 reps on each side. You can even do a more circuit type of format, and I've said this before, you can do so many reps of each exercise and then go back through all of them again. You can also time yourself for 30 to 40 seconds, doing the exercise with more form, not worrying about how many reps you get, more about concentrating on your form within that certain time period. And then you'll notice a lot of progress that way by the amount of reps that you are able to get into that certain amount of time. So that's always an option as well, to practice it that way. Last thing here is we're gonna work on that standing position, okay? So let me just adjust this one more time here. All right, so first we have that step and hold with the eyes closed, okay? So you're gonna inhale, exhale, feel that pelvic floor lift. If you don't, activate that pelvic floor, so engage it. Do the Kegel, hold the Kegel as you step and hold with the eyes closed. A lot of balancing, a lot of foot engagement, ankle engagement, knee and hip with this because the eyes are closed, and then you'll step back. Okay, so inhale, exhale. Again, make sure you feel that pelvic floor lift. If you don't feel that lift with that exhale, then I want you to engage that pelvic floor and hold it as you take that step forward, okay? Again, 5 to 10 reps of that one on each side. This is really about the stability of that pelvic floor. Very, very helpful if you're having any leakage or any pressure with, like pelvic floor pressure with walking. If you want to get back to running, this is a very important exercise to do. Again, it's not like we're repping out crunches here. It's really about just maintaining that support in the pelvic floor so you can get back to those functional activities that you want to, okay? Last thing is that single leg squat with support. So I just have a dresser right here that I'm going to hold on to. I'll show you from a front view. So you're going to inhale, exhale, feel that pelvic floor lift. Draw on the hip bones and lift the pelvic floor. If you don't, you're going to squat down and then you're going to come back up. You can do whatever with your hands. Good. I'll show you from a side view. Again, kind of holding on. Inhale, exhale. You're sitting back and coming back up, okay? I'm kind of looking at the camera to make sure my angle's good, but I want you to look straight, kind of forward and down. I don't want you looking directly down, and I don't want you looking up. I kind of want you looking down and ahead with that, okay? So really making sure that your butt is going back. So we don't want any knees going over the toes. That is a different kind of squat, but that's not the squat that we're doing with this particular exercise, okay? So you want to make sure you're going down and back. No back pain with this, should be felt. If you're still really having trouble, you don't have to squat down as deep, okay? So you could just squat down a little bit and then come back up, okay? It's going to be a very mini squat. You can also go back to just doing squatting down with both legs. So inhale, exhale, and lift up. Inhale, exhale, lift up, okay? So practice different of those variations. Again, you want to make sure that you're sitting back versus sitting straight down, okay? So butt going back towards a wall. You can also have your, be standing in front of a wall, and then when you do that squat, you can practice your butt touching that wall. And if it doesn't touch the wall, are you going down like this, versus back like this, okay? Another thing that you can do with this is start practicing and maybe with just one fingertip on your support system. So starting to practice maybe without, if you're feeling really strong in the pelvic floor and you're not getting any heaviness or pressure in those areas, okay? So again, 5 to 10 reps on each side of those. Pausing the video here and practicing that. But that wraps up week 6 core class from Resilient Motherhood. Again, go back to those other videos if you want to re-practice an exercise. If you feel like you need to get a little bit more out of those videos, please feel free to go back to them. But I've enjoyed being able to teach you this 6-week core strengthening series. I really hope that it's been helpful. Again, if you have any questions for us, please reach out to us at Resilient Motherhood, and we'll be happy to answer your questions as well. So until then, please stay resilient and have a great weekend and the rest of the week.